don't like being in my house anymore. Not since Dad and Sadie stopped being there. Now there's just Mrs. Stenson and Mama, and I don't want to be around either of them. So instead of going into the house, I stay in my tree house. Dad had it special built so that it's just like a house, just up in a tree, and it has a trapdoor. It has a regular door too, but I like the trapdoor a lot better. I have a little sleeping pad and some beanbag furniture. Plus, Dad got me a little fridge and microwave and a little window unit that can be a heater or an air conditioner, depending on if it's summer or winter. I can pretty much live in there, and for the past few months, I kind of have been. I don't like going in the house because that's where Mama is. She never leaves her room, but I can smell her all over the place. She smells really bad, like milk that's been on the counter for a couple days, but not long enough to be all solid. I don't know how she manages to get her icky smell all over the place when she doesn't ever get out of bed and Mrs. Stenson is there to clean the house and cook every day. Maybe it's a superpower or something. Weird superpower, but whatever. At least she has one. I don't have one. Maybe I don't have a superpower, but I do have my treehouse. Maybe I'm more like Batman, where I'm just a regular person with a really cool hideout. Dad set up a TV for me with a built-in DVD player, so I can watch my favorite shows without Mama getting grouchy. She hates my shows. I leave all my DVDs out in the treehouse now because she went on a rampage and threw out all of my anime after Aunt Nat died. She told me my shows are weird and my clothes are weird, so she threw my stuff out and yelled at me to be normal. Dad totally lost his mind on her when he came home and found out. Dad likes the same weird things I like. So does Sadie. Dad bought me my shows and more of my clothes that I like and told me to just keep things I like in my treehouse until he moves back home. He offered me to come live with him and Sadie at his new house, but I don't want to, so he isn't making me. My house kinda sucks right now, but I don't want to leave. I can just stay in my hideout until things get better. I'm making hot cocoa when the ghost comes up through the trapdoor and collapses on the floor. I don't scream though. Only shoujo girls scream, and I'm more of a shonen girl. I stare at it and think that this must be the start to my own anime where I get my superpowers to see ghosts. Maybe I'll be a paranormal detective or an exorcist. I look out the window to see if anyone is running towards the treehouse in case an exorcist is coming who I can go with and start my apprenticeship. No one's outside though. It's just me and the white ghost thing. That's a little disappointing, but it doesn't mean that no one is coming. Maybe I just need to give them a minute. The white thing is right in front of me suddenly. Its hands are on either side of my head and its face is pressed almost right against my nose. I'm scared frozen. For a long time, I'm just standing there with the white thing's cold hands over my ears, and I'm too afraid to move. I stand there for so long, I stop being afraid and start noticing things about it, like how it doesn't have a smell or shadows. The whole thing is just a really flat white. Even up close, I can't see anything but white. Maybe it is a shadow, I think to myself. A moment later, it lets me go and falls backward onto the floor. You're very sick, the white thing says. It has a lady voice. It doesn't have lips. I don't think so, I respond. My nose isn't running, and I always get a runny nose when I'm sick. Not that kind of sick, it says. You have a tumor in your head. It just hasn't made you very sick yet, so you haven't noticed. My face scrunches up and I rub my forehead as if I can feel the tumor there, but of course I can't. It's just my forehead like normal. If you say so, I tell the thing. What are you? I'm a woman. A very, very old woman. I've been really sick myself and had a bad accident. What about you, sweetie? Who are you? The white thing answers. Oh, I'm Alicia. I used to live in that house over there, but I live in my treehouse now. But not forever. When Dad moves back, I'm gonna go live in the house again. The shadow lady looks over to the house. It's really big, and I bet she's wondering why I'd want to live in a treehouse instead of a nice big house. I decide to answer before she asks the question. My mama is in there and she smells weird and doesn't like my stuff. Sometimes she throws my stuff away. Lately she just stays in bed, but I like the treehouse better. I have my TV and snacks and stuff, so I don't really gotta go in the house, except to go to the bathroom and stuff, I say, flopping down into one of my beanbag chairs. The shadow lady nodded, but it was hard to tell with all the whiteness. Do you need some Dayquil? I ask. The shadow turns its head to me. What for? I shrug. You said you were sick for a long time. When I'm sick, I take Dayquil. Thank you, Alicia, but I'm not the kind of sick that Dayquil would help with. Hot cocoa? I offer. When I'm the kind of sick Dayquil doesn't help with, it's usually cocoa that does. The ghostly shadow chuckled a little. Thank you, dearie, but cocoa wouldn't help me either. Well, what would? Everything was quiet for a while. It was quiet for so long, I thought the shadow lady had gone to sleep or something. I need to eat people, the shadow said quietly. I'm too weak to hunt for them, though. I could probably bring some people here for you if you want, I offered. What kind of people do you usually eat? I don't usually eat people, sweetie. Just when I'm too sick. The best ones for me right now would be kids who are really overweight. Ew, fat kids don't sound yummy, I say with a scrunched face. I imagine what it would be like to eat a fat kid, and I think it'd be like chewing on the icky fat pieces on a steak. Remembering that rubbery feeling of the fat between my teeth kinda makes me gag. Maybe to you, the shadow admits, but for me they make me feel a lot better, so I like them. They have the most life and energy in them, which is what I need to get better. I'll need a lot of them, though. Are you sure you're okay with bringing them here to me? I nod to her. Yeah, there's a park not too far away. Lots of fat kids play over there. I could just go over there and ask them to come home for cookies, and I bet they'll come with me. You just gotta promise not to eat me instead. No worries, sweetie. You're too thin, and that tumor means you don't have enough life left for it to be worthwhile for me to take. You're safe enough for me, but I do need you to bring me another kid as soon as you can. I'm very weak. If you bring me enough to get better myself, I'll help you get better too. I'll be your best friend to show my gratitude for all your help. Alrighty, I say as I stand up and slip my shoes on. Stay here and I'll be right back. I go down through the trapdoor and head behind the tree where the walking trail is. It's part of the park where adults like to go running. Sometimes I even see teenagers at night walking around with cigarettes. I usually stay away from the trail because I don't really like going outside, and it always reminds me of my mom making me go on walks with her before she kept herself piled up in bed. It's not a very long walk, though. 5 minutes later, I'm at the playground, looking around, trying to figure out who the ghosts would want to eat more. There are a few chubby kids playing on the sides, but they're a lot bigger and a lot older than me, and I don't really want any trouble. Older kids always mean trouble. I spot someone over on the swings and think they look about right. They're my height, but weigh a lot more than me. I can't tell until I'm a lot closer that it's a girl. Hey, I say to her as I sit on the swing next to her. She doesn't look at me. Hi. Want some cookies? She looks at me like she doesn't believe me. Maybe she knows I'm not really going to give her cookies. Where do you have cookies? She asks. At my treehouse. I have a bunch of cookies and hot cocoa, I respond. My mama doesn't let me have that stuff anymore, the girl says, sadly, scuffing her shoes on the rubber safety mat. Is your mama here? I ask, looking around. I hadn't thought until now that it wouldn't be good for an adult to see us together. Mama sent me here to get some exercise. I'm supposed to be walking over on the running track, but it makes my feet hurt, she answered. Well, if she can't see it, she can't get mad about it. We could sneak over to my treehouse and eat cookies, and she won't even know what happened, I say, starting to move towards the walking trail. She doesn't look fully convinced yet. Actually, she looks kind of nervous. I don't know, she says, worried. I'm not supposed to go anywhere with strangers. and Mama will kill me if she finds out. The strangers thing is about adults. Kids aren't strangers. And how is your mom gonna know? Unless you tell her, she can't find out, I say in the most convincing way I can, moving a little further away. If you don't want to go, I guess that's fine. None of my business if you don't want cookies and cocoa. That got her. She pulls herself up and waddles along with me back to my treehouse. This time, the walk takes like 10 minutes because she walks so slow, but we eventually get there. She needs a minute to breathe before she can climb the steps up to the trapdoor. Once we're inside, I'm a little confused. I don't see the ghost anywhere. It's not like there's a lot of places to hide, so she has to be inside somewhere. What are you looking for? The other girl asks me, looking around the treehouse too. Nothing, I say, pretending that nothing's wrong. I walk over to the table with the microwave and start making cocoa. I'm starting to feel like the kind of sick where I could use some. The other girl sits down at my tea table, still looking around. I really like your treehouse. Thanks, I do too. My dad had it built for me. My dad doesn't do anything for me, she says, sounding kind of sad. He sits in his recliner and calls me fat a lot. Sometimes he tells me I'm never going to be a real girl because I just look like a fat little boy. I didn't say anything to that because I was always told not to say something if I didn't have a nice thing to say, and definitely never lie. And it didn't seem nice to tell her dad was right about how she looked, and it would be a lie to tell her she didn't. Instead, I brought her a cup of cocoa over and grabbed a bag of cookies. We sat in the quiet for a while, just eating cookies and drinking the cocoa. I had pretty much decided I imagined the ghost lady by the time I saw her sneaking up behind the bigger girl. My whole face must have lit up because the girl looked at me kind of weird before turning her head to look behind her, just in time for the ghost lady's mouth to open up super wide and bite down on her whole top half. There was a whole lot of blood before the ghost chomped down on the other half of her lunch. Some of it even sprayed on me, and I got a little bit in my eye. My eyes immediately started watering like crazy, and by the time it stopped, the ghost was already done eating. She was wiping her hands over where the blood was, and when she moved her hands, the blood was gone. She did this over every bit of it on the table and floor until I didn't see any more anywhere. When she was done, she walked over to my big beanbag couch and flopped down onto it. Thank you, Alicia, she said really quietly. Anytime, I told her. Just let me know when you're hungry and I'll go get you another snack. My dress was ruined with all the blood splatters. My mom was still cooped up in the house, making it smell weird. Dad and Sadie were still living somewhere else. But none of that seemed to suck as much anymore. I had a new friend living with me, and for once I didn't feel like I was invisible to everyone.